I will introduce myself if you don't know who I am. Um, uh, uh, my name is Wendy. I'm Wendy the Druid. If you're a reader of the publication, uh, great. If you're not a reader of the publication, please consider uh, becoming a free or paid subscriber. Either way is okay. And I am a 52-year-old long info security, network security engineer and journalist, and I own the publication. I am the publication owner. But the other writers of the publication keep me out of trouble. But I'm one of the only ones that does lives for the publication. Um, oh, metaphor, please. Uh, I will tell you, if you sub uh, to the publication, I'll comp you a paid sub for 7 days so that you can see the benefit of being a paid subscriber. Okay, just give me 1 second. I'm updating a few different streams. Okay, so so we can talk about Musk, we can talk about Batman, or we can talk about the car. Somebody pick one of those, and then we'll go from there. We will go from there. And I have a few. Oh, metaphor. My righteous anger is delicious, most people say. Metaphor, there was a going publication contest to guess the year, make, model, and color of my college age car. And if you get it right, if you get the make, model, and year right, I will give you a 30-day paid subscription to the app, to the publication. If you get the color with the year, make, and model right, I will give the first person that hits that a 90-day paid subscription to the publication. And there's a post here. Let me get the post out there so that everybody will know. This is the post where everyone's trying to guess the car that I drove around in college. So that's the challenge. So that's where the car reference come from. I'm not really, as a trans woman, I am not a car person as much anymore myself. But when I was younger, long before I started my gender transition, I was a car fanatic. Pops, that doesn't mean that you're away. I hope you're doing okay, Pops the Druid. Um, S. Ramsey, give it a shot. What the fuck, right? What's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to tell you no, it was a good guess, and that's not it. The more interesting thing is that everyone is going to laugh hysterically when they find out what the car is and how you can't imagine me seeing it. But here's the thing. If somebody guesses the car, I will tell the story about the car in the live session to the obvious hilarity of everyone. Um, so metaphor, this was the car that I drove while I was a college student back in 1992. And I drove the car for 4 years. S. Ramsey, you have no idea how close that is. Um, you have no idea. That's hilarious. So far, S. Ramsey. So S. Ramsey, you're going to have to put that in the post that I linked above to register the guess. So if you guess it here, also guess it on the post so that I can keep track of the thread. Yeah, that's the gist of it. The long and short is guess which car I drove. Um, um, And there's Camhurst Rick. Camhurst Rick will tell you he has guessed himself like 9 fucking times, and he still hasn't gotten it. Um, it 100%. All right, so Lynn Mad, you got to get the year. You have to guess the year, the make, and the model all together for it to register as a valid guess. No, there's not a photo. You're literally just guessing based on the fact that I went to college in 1991. So you have to assume that the car was manufactured before the year 1991. Susie, that's also a really good guess, but no, it's not it. Um, so I love this. I've had probably the best time that I've ever had um, um, with people trying to guess this shit. I think it's awesome. Um, um, I really do. Um, uh, I will tell everyone, by the way. Oh my God, Negasonic Menopausal Warhead. That name is fucking awesome. Okay, that's a brilliant guess, Metaphor. VW Golf 1984. No one's guessed that yet, by the way, but that is indeed not it. So, Pops, the only clues are I went to college in 1991, so the car was manufactured before then, and it is most likely a vehicle that you would never imagine that I've driven. Rick Herbst, 82 Mazda GLC Silver. No, also a good guess though. Um, by the way, I'm going to call out Lynn Mad. So Lynn Mad, say hello to everybody. Lynn Mad is one of my paid subscribers. Um, so if you're curious about ever becoming a paid subscriber, she can tell you the benefit of being a paid subscriber. And I'm going to expect her to tell everybody that while we're sitting here. Pops the Druid, 81 Fiat Spider 2000. I wish, maybe, but no, that's not what it was. Oh, it's just this is um, this is so delightfully entertaining. Um, so delightfully entertaining. Um, by the way, everybody that's in the live, I'm just going to warn you um, that if you get a follow from me, it's because I'm not following you currently, and I think that you're worthy of a follow, including Negasonic Menopausal Warhead. Uh, I'm following you just because that name is fucking hysterically awesome. Um, uh, and then Metaphor. Here we go. Let's follow Metaphor in case we're not yet. There we go. I like to follow people. Yeah, exactly that name. So, Lynn, while I'm talking about today's subjects, if you will extol the virtue of uh, what becoming a paid subscriber is all about, um, then that will inform everybody, and I trust you to communicate that while I'm talking. So, I want to bitch about Elon Musk. Uh, do people want to hear me bitch about Elon Musk for about 15 minutes? And will you enjoy that? Okay, yes, Ramsey. I'm going to do that just for you and Rick and Metaphor. So I wrote an article today. Let me link to it because I did not post it to the stream. So this is what I'm going to tell everyone. If you're a reader of the publication, here is one of the things that I am going to recommend that you do. Um, and that's this. Bookmark the publication front page, which is that domain, because about 50 to 60% of my content I'm not actually posting to the mailing list. And I would say about half of that is paid content. So if you're a paid subscriber, um, you won't necessarily get an email notification for that content because I don't really like to send my paid content to the mailing list mainly because I don't want to hit everyone that's a free subscriber for that. I could just send that to every paid subscriber, and I may do that, but and also too, I don't want to fill up everybody's email box up with my stuff when it's just as easy to tell you that, oh, by the way, um, you know, um, I posted this on the page. Normally, what I try to do is for posts that I don't put um, onto the mailing list, I'll do an announcement in the Wendy the Druid chat. Um, so if you look there, or if you look at the front page, you will very oftentimes see content that I've written um, that the content that I've written in response to uh, the things that I'm writing about, and then you'll see it. I don't want you to miss something that I've written just because I didn't broadcast it out to the free subscriber list. And of course, as I tell all of my free subscribers, if you're a free subscriber, share the shit on social media, all of my shit. Share it to everyone. Get it out there. My Druid Coven leader, a lovely Druid priestess named Wina, spams the crap out of my stuff on Twitter. And so I get a lot of referral traffic from Twitter for people that are still on Twitter who are incensed about the things that I'm angry about. And there's a lot of cross path there. I don't necessarily want you guys to read uh, the news and the journalistic efforts that I'm putting forward instead of something else. From my perspective, if you read Midas Touch and Jeff Tiedrick and Dworkin and all of those others, and then read my publication at the same time, I think you would get a better picture from a news perspective than you would from going to the mainstream media. But I don't necessarily want you to use my publication source as a primary source of information. Um, so anyway, um, back to where we're. So Elon Musk. Um, the title of the article: Elon Musk is a chicken shit, just like Bone Spurs Trump, and he is. So here's the link to that article, and we're just going to talk through this. Um, so it's a special kind of irony when a guy who fled his homeland, by the way, I want to be very clear, Elon Musk fled South Africa so that he could avoid mandatory military service. He's basically a pussy. I I know it's really bad to use female anatomy, but he is a complete coward who is incapable of uh, doing anything other than doing cowardly bullshit. He didn't make any money. He's not a genius. The only reason he has money is because his parent gave him an emerald mine for which he used to collect an ungodly amount of money. And then he came to Canada. Um, and so in Canada, he didn't really do anything for himself there. He wasn't beneficial in any way. And then he came to the U.S. illegally. Um, and so, yeah, S. Ramsey, I don't like to use the word that rhymes with hunt. Um, I mean, I talk about my friend Mike Hunt. I talk about Mike Hunt all the time. You should get to know Mike Hunt. Mike Hunt. Mike Hunt's a great guy. Um, so anyway, so yeah, basically he dodged the draft. Um, so um, let's get one thing straight. He's a chicken shit coward. His entire life story is painted in shades of convenience and self-preservation. Um, Starting with his convenient departure from South Africa, right around the time he would have been required to put on a fucking uniform. And he was too cowardly and too spineless to do even that. South Africa has mandatory military service for all white males and this was during apartheid, by the way. There are a few articles, and I can link them for you in the archive. Which, by the way, if you're a paid subscriber, you can read those because some of them have gone to the paid archive. That's the other benefit of being a paid subscriber is you get the full access to the library of my currently nearly 565 articles that I literally have written day in and day out since October of last year. Which, by the way, I'm going to clarify something at the end of the live that everybody asks me um, about it, and that's how does my writing process work? And it's actually quite hilarious, but it's effective. Um, so, one, Musk is a fucking racist. I mean, he grew up in apartheid South Africa. He probably used the K word because he grew up in Pretoria, which is the privileged area, privileged white-only Afrikaner Dutch area of South Africa. And yes, using the K word. I won't say the K word because the K word is highly offensive. But if you just look up South Africa K word person of color, you'll find the word and then you'll understand what it is. So Musk left South Africa in '89 at the age of 17, right before he would have been conscripted into the SADF. How fucking convenient for him. I mean, really, what the fuck? How? I don't even get it. This wasn't some principled stand against apartheid. If it had been, maybe he'd have mentioned it once in the decade since. He has, in the past, described that he left South Africa because of apartheid. I think that's bullshit. I think that's complete bullshit. Instead, all evidence points to a rich kid using his privilege to sidestep an obligation that less fortunate South Africans couldn't avoid, just like President Bone Spurs. Because Trump has bone spurs, because he's a worthless piece of shit with his goddamn fucking bone spurs. Fast forward to 2025. Yeah, exactly, Negasonic. Little dumpy pants. Our draft evading billionaire now wraps himself in American patriotism like it's a designer coat that he just discovered. He postures himself as Trump's efficiency guru, promising to trim the fat from government spending. Where does the self-proclaimed genius choose to make his mark? Veterans Affairs. He literally says, I'm going to gut Veterans Affairs. A person who dodged the draft in his own country, who is a literal coward, is now saying Veterans Affairs needs to be cut down. I mean, what the fuck? Cutting benefits for people who actually served while he ran away from service like a fucking coward. A total fucking coward, by the way. It would be laughable if it weren't just so infuriatingly stupid. But here's the bitter truth. Musk is exactly who he's always been, a privileged opportunist who talks about saving humanity while demonstrating contempt for actual humans. He's a self-mythologizer. He constructs heroic narratives about himself while running away from actual heroism. There was his Halloween costume picture or whatever, where he was in the red armor and he's like, I'm a superhero. Self-mythologizing. It's fucking bullshit. And as veterans advocate for, and former Marine Corps officer Thomas Reynolds put it, there's a profound disconnect between those making these decisions and those living with the consequences. When you have never served, never sacrificed, never considered putting your country before yourself, you have no business determining what veterans deserve or don't deserve, or what care a veteran deserves to get or not. And he's right. I mean, until we stop letting chicken shit, fuckwad, tit waffle, bone fuck, cowards like Elon Musk make decisions about veterans' care, the people who are not speaking out are as complicit because they're allowing it to fucking happen, and that's bullshit. Okay, there's my fucking rant about Elon Musk and how pissed off I am about it. Um, Now, does anybody have any questions? Yeah, that's another thing too. His use, I'm not going to knock his use of cannabis products because, okay, I'm just going to say cannabis does actually provide a medical benefit. But ketamine, his abuse of ketamine is scary. On top of the fact that it has had such a profound negative mental effect on him. He glitches all the time and shit. It's scary. Um, yeah, and two, like Musk said that um, Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. He clearly does not understand what that. Won't it just kill him? Yeah, if he continues to abuse it enough, it'll eventually get him. Remember, ketamine is not necessarily the same thing as fentanyl. Although I don't know, maybe I'm not even going to say that. But yeah, over time, continual abuse of ketamine will eventually catch up to him, I think, yes. The problem is not before he has time to stop and do really fucked up, bad, stupid shit to the government and to our country, do I think before it'll take effect. Hey, come on. Psst, 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 psst. No, my cat didn't give a shit. My cat didn't give a shit. Yeah, exactly. Um, you know, the whole his whole like trying to forgive Hitler and Stalin. That Twitter post, and he took it down before I had the chance to reply to it because that's fucking bullshit. It's total fucking bullshit. So um, I want to ask, does everybody in the live um, do you understand the uh, versus Batman phenomenon? Like everybody says, whoever versus Batman. If Batman has preparation, Batman will always win in that fight, whoever the fuck it is. Um, have people heard of this before? I just want to clarify um, before uh, before I continue with this. Um, there is a cultural phenomenon about Batman fighting um, random. Yeah, okay. So it's a nerdy geeky thing. I'm a huge nerd, so um, you'll just have to bear with me. So I wrote an article about Batman and Peter Hegseth getting into a fight um, with each other. Who the fuck would win? So who's a fan of Batman? Are there people that are fans of Batman? By the way, I'm just gonna ask. Okay, so Batman versus Pete Hegseth. Who the fuck would win? Um, so Batman has been holed up in the Batcave for a week reviewing Pete Hegseth's combat record because he served in the military, um, television appearances, and the time he accidentally threw an axe over a target and nearly decapitated a West Point drummer, which did happen. Um, an incident which Bruce Wayne files under tactically unpredictable and dangerously incompetent. Meanwhile, Hegseth has been, well, not preparing much against this fight against Batman. His strategy consists mainly of tweeting about how he's going to show that trust fund costume freak what real American strength looks like. Not exactly the comprehensive battle plan you would hope from the Secretary of Defense, right? Sure, okay. So with preparation, so that's the big thing about a fight with Batman is that apparently with preparation, Batman can beat anybody, including Superman. And I want to be clear from a comic book perspective, Batman with preparation has beaten Superman's ass like 3 or 4 times. Viciously 3 or 4 times. So the with preparation fight, Batman versus Pete Hegseth. Batman emerges from the shadows as Hegseth is in mid-interview rambling about coastal elites. The Dark Knight deploys a custom-made sound grenade that plays Hegseth's most embarrassing on-air gaffes in 120 decibels, making him deaf. Hegseth is then momentarily stunned by the sound of his own voice saying, "I don't think I've washed my hands in the last 10 years because I don't think germs exist." Hegseth recovers from this and then charges Batman like a bull, military training kicking in. Batman sidesteps, deploying a special foam that hardens on contact, designed specifically to immobilize someone with Hegseth's combat style. Um, Shit, yells Hegseth as he finds himself stuck in place. Batman then approaches calmly, holding a bottle of hand sanitizer, saying, "This might be the most terrifying thing you've ever seen," before spraying Hegseth's hands thoroughly. The psychological warfare is complete, and Hegseth surrenders, muttering something about liberal disinfectant agenda. Batman's victory would never have been in doubt in that fight. Now, no preparation. With no time to prepare, the matchup becomes more interesting. Batman doesn't know who the hell this guy is, and Hegseth has no time to tweet about how he's going to make Batman great again, um, or whatever fucked up nonsense he would normally spout. So, in the no preparation fight, Hegseth, a former National Guard officer with actual combat experience, comes out swinging with military precision. Batman, caught off guard by the disciplined approach, takes a solid right hook to the jaw, where Hegseth then says, "That's for the taxpayers of Gotham, you rich asshole." Um, Batman quickly recovers, analyzing Hegseth's fighting style. He notices that Peter keeps his right side slightly exposed from throwing combinations, a habit from his boxing days. Batman exploits this weakness, landing 3 rapid strikes to Hegseth's exposed ribs, breaking them immediately, which causes Hegseth to grunt. In a desperate move, Hegseth grabs the American flag from a nearby stand, attempts to use it as a weapon. Batman, ever the tactician, um, uses the moment of patriotic improvisation to swing Hegseth's legs, pin him to the ground, saying, "The flag deserves better," growling before knocking Hegseth completely unconscious. Um, Even without preparation, Batman's years of combat experience and assassin training against every type of opponent imaginable gives him an edge even over somebody like Peter Hegseth. Um, Hegseth's military training made this tough fight, but Batman's ability to identify and exploit weakness is real time and it's totally unfucking matched. So Pete Hegseth was completely loose in a fight against Batman, like the little bitch that he is. So to answer your question, Lynn, Matt, I wrote this. Um, I have perpetually engaged many times over the years in discussions and arguments with people about who would win in one fight versus who would win in another fight, yada yada. So, like the big one is if Batman and Wolverine got into a fight with each other, who would win? And I have consistently said that even with preparation, Wolverine would beat the shit out of Batman and probably kill him. and probably kill him. Um, People have disagreed with me over the years as to why this is true or not. And metaphor, thank you. Yeah, I try to keep it funny. I don't I don't cuss near as badly as Jeff Tiedrick does. But my language is still pretty colorful and beautiful and everything else. So I still have it in me to be funny. So those are the 2 things: bitching about Musk and talking about the Batman thing. I knew that everyone was going to get a kick out of that, um, to be sure. So metaphor, I fucking cuss like a goddamn sailor bitch. Um, and I do it every fucking day, and I don't limit it. Um, and to be honest, as I continue to try to uh, make the Substack my everyday job, which is really the intent that I've been working on the entire time that I've been writing it, um, is to cuss more. As a matter of fact, you will note Miranda. Miranda is Miranda the poet, who is my editor. Um, she essentially keeps me the fuck out of trouble um, consistently, and does a very good job of it for the most part. Um, so that will lead into the last thing that I was going to talk about, and everybody has asked this, so I'm going to clear this up once and for fucking all. Uh, how do I write as prolifically as I do the stuff that I write? And so here's what happens. So I don't sleep well at night. I have a lot of anxiety. And when the anxiety hits me in the middle of the night and I can't sleep, um, I break out my phone and I start voice to texting um, uh, shit that I'm reading or thinking about. And so I brain dump a whole shit ton of text um, for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I mean, it's a huge brain dump. My brain dumps in the middle of the night can go between, I would say, between 7 and 8 pages of text. Because all that thought is up here in my head. I have to get it the fuck out. And I can't get it the fuck out. I have to get it the fuck out. So when I get up in the morning, before I start my actual job, um, I then sort of copy and paste the sections out into separate note application tags. And everybody asks me what I use for note taking. So on my Macs, I use the Bear application, and then on my Debian box, which that's the big machine, um, I use Obsidian Notes, and I have plugins for the both of them to check my grammar. Um, Metaphor, if you want, I can really sort of, if you send me a DM, I can work you through. I can work you through all your questions. I was a total Substack noob back in September of last year, August or September of last year, and then it went all downhill from there. And it was an amazing experience for me. Um, yeah, so that's what happened. So I basically voice the text, 2 hours of text, because I can't sleep at night, and that gets me like 8, 9, sometimes 10 pages of thoughts. And so then all I do is section those thoughts into separate notes in my notes apps, and then I use my grammar plugins to check the grammar and then position them around. So that's how, and then all I do after that is hand it over to Miranda. And I tell her, Miranda, here's the article, here's the rough outline, here's how I think it should work, uh, here's what I think, fix it up for me. And then she goes through it and she fixes all of my fuck ups, and she fixes all the flow, because all the grammar's right, because my grammar plugins have fixed all my run-on sentences and shit. Um, and then that's how the articles go out. Now, I will say, um, the um, the meditations and the herbal posts, um, I wrote those 10 years ago, um, maybe 9 years ago, but I wrote those a number of years back. Um, so, um, the herbal compendium posts, um, I easily have, how many of those do I have now? There, you know what, I can tell you. Hold on, let me look. That's a pretty easy answer to answer. Uh, so we have 659 total published articles in a 6 month period, a 6 to 7 month period. Of the compendium posts, let's see, how many are we talking about? So 62. So I've written 62 compendium posts. I would say, um, yeah, metaphor, that's exactly right. Substack is used for journalists and writers and poetics and even lyricists to basically get our work out to the body populace. Um, and that's what I use. I use Substack to report the news and my own opinion. Um, People will tell you they tend to like my opinions because I cite references against the opinions that I put out. If I read something on The Hill or The Verge or 404 Media or any of those, I digest what I got out of the article and then I wrap a bunch of text around it and then I cite the original article. Um, that's still a writer on top of that article, but you're also getting my opinion on top of it. Um, where in certain cases there are things that I have an opinion about, um, and I try desperately to back up everything that I write opinion-wise with factual evidence. And I will say this in metaphor, this is important, and Lynn Mad will tell you um, that this is true, and that's if you see something that I wrote and you think that it's wrong, or you can prove that it's wrong, reply in a comment and tell me that it's wrong and tell me where you found that proves that it was wrong, and I literally will fix it. Um, I literally will amend and update. Uh, you could call out CNN for saying wrong shit, and they'll never change it. You tell me something is wrong, I will definitely fucking fix it, especially if there is strong evidence to support that my opinion about it was wrong. Um, So I want to continue to have that opinion. And so here's the other thing. So Lynn Mad, question, have I thought about putting my meditations in a book? Yes. Uh, I am going to publish 4 novels over the course of the next 4 years. Um, Camera Strict, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. And be safe out there. So, right. So, 4 books. So, paid subscribers get a 35% discount on all 4 of the novels when they're released. So, the meditations post, the meditations write-ups, and the Earl write-ups are getting their own 2, if not 3 novels. Um, so, um, and I would say I'm about 20 to 24% through the first of those 4 novels. Um, so my intent is to get that publication out to books, so Apple Books probably, because I'm in that space. I really don't want to publish to Amazon. I really don't. So they're all nonfiction. All of the books that I have to write are nonfiction. One is semi-biographical, the meditation and herbal posts into a book, and then a general thoughts, um, a general thoughts book about the subject of my transition, um, because I happen to care about trans persons a whole lot. If this isn't obvious to you, it is obvious now. I have been in active gender transition for 5 years. And I really, just like Flynn Boylan and the others, my intent is to get that experience out to people. A metaphor, I will tell you, I read anywhere from 10 to 12 books a month on average. Lynn Matt, I'm completely okay with you reposting um, my links to my articles on Blue Sky. Please, I already do it. If you don't do it, you should totally do it, because that information, and then even further still, is you should tag me in the posts that you make, and I'll share my Substack tag with you. Um, um, That's my tag, um, Lynn, on Blue Sky. So if you include that tag, I'll get a notification, and I can boost that. But yes, Blue Sky is okay. I really don't like Facebook or Threads. If you want to, that's entirely up to you. The problem with Facebook and Threads, which is the same problem that I experience with X, is I get a large influx of MAGAs that attack me on Substack. Um, I would tell you that on any given day, I get I'd say between 10 and 20 MAGA accounts that are created solely to tell me that I'll never be a fucking woman, numerous T slurs, um, word that rhymes with hissy, word that rhymes with hag. Um, I've been called all of those names before. So the writing process. So I do this big brainy dump in the middle of the night, and then I make sure all the grammar's right, and then I hand it over to Miranda, and Miranda makes sure that it flows right, and then I publish it. That's how I'm able to turn, um, uh, you know, 3, 4, and 5 articles a day. Um, and two, the meditations and the herbal posts are already pre-written. Um, no, they won't. They have no interest in being real people, and I can't tell you the number of times they have tried to communicate in the most vile of ways to convince me that no matter how much estrogen and hormone replacement therapy I do, I will never be a woman. And I literally tell them, look, my skin's this thick. You're going to have to get over it. Oh, by the way, I fell asleep when they tattooed this shit on my arm. If I fall asleep through that, there's probably not a whole lot you can fucking tell me that's going to phase me in any fucking way whatsoever. Um, so you just sort of have to bear that in mind. Um, I'm 52. I've heard a lot of shit in the last 35 years. Uh, you're going to call me word that rhymes with hag. You're going to have to do better than that. You're about going to have to hit me in the face. And by the way, I want to be very clear. Anybody that does that, they're not going. It's not going to end well for them because while I'm 52 years old, I'm 6'6" and I weigh 245 fucking pounds. Don't piss me off. I got big fucking hands, and I make no bones about having to do what's necessary in a situation. And I have had to do that in the past, countless times, I might add. So, yeah, I don't fuck around. I don't fuck around and find out. You want to fuck around and find out? Pick a fight with me. It's not going to end well. I might walk away with a few cuts and bruises, but it won't be much better for you. So, anyway, all right, that's enough. That's enough violent talk. So, uh, now before I end the live, I'm going to pick on people. Here, let's see who we can snag. Herb. Oh wait, we had somebody join. Oh my God.
Oh, it's me. It's me. I don't.
Metaphor. You don't know what you're doing. For somebody who doesn't know what you're doing.
No one knows what I'm doing. I'm very old. I'm in my 70s. I'm trying to figure all this out. But I love your stuff. I love your stuff.
Oh gosh. Oh heavens. I I would say, Metaphor. You're not too old. Um, if Ivan invited you into a live, and uh, you actually took it, and you actually have the camera. You're doing really well.
Oh, am I? See, I hate doing this because I don't like the way I look. I'm so
Oh
old.
gosh, heavens! I I don't put any makeup on during the day. I mean, I I don't put
Yeah,
my wig, I don't put my hair pieces on or my makeup on until I'm going
bet
out
you're beautiful.
for date night or something like that. Gosh, I'm 52 years old. I look like a wreck. So, this is your first live. Here you go, metaphor. Now, you can literally ask me any question you want, because I tell everybody this when I get
You
them on
can hear
live.
me?
Oh, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, okay. I thought you could, but again, I have never done this.
So, you 3 minutes. You can ask me any question, and I will answer it.
Oh, I would have prepared something. What's the favorite book you ever read in your life?
Oh my God, that's that I so I people are going to laugh when I say this, um, but I was a long time science fiction reader. And there is a book that was written by a guy named Wayne Douglas Barlow. And here's why. This is a multi-part answer to that question. So back in the 70s, Wayne Douglas Barlow wrote a book called The Guide to Extraterrestrials. Google this shit, you'll find it. And in that book, Barlow artistically drew renditions of all of the popular characters and or creatures from many classic sci-fi novels. And so this is a challenge that I give to people. Gizmo, my middle child, that's my biological child. My other two kids, um, Huggy and and Puffball, are my partner's bio kids. I just use their nicknames because it's funny. Um,
Right.
so I've challenged my three kids with this, and only one of our three kids has done it, and that's my child Gizmo. And the challenge is this: um, Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials actually mentions 32 novels, and the
Barlow's
challenge,
Guide. What's it
yes,
called again?
Barlow's
Barlow's.
Guide, Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials. Google this shit.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not kidding.
Yeah.
So
No, I like sci-fi, so I will find it.
so here's the thing about that book. That book mentions, like I said, 32 other classic sci-fi novels, and the challenge is to read all of the books that are mentioned in Barlow's Guide. And one of those is a book by um, Jack Chalker, who published in the late 70s and early 80s. And the thing that Jack Chalker is known for um, is a series called the Well World novels.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, Midnight at the Well of Souls is the first
Right.
novel
Yeah.
in that series, and that literally is my favorite novel of all time.
Cool.
But in addition, Clark's Childhood's End is mentioned in Barlow's Guide. Um, Foundation, uh, which was Asimov. Stanislaw Hem's Solaris, which is a classic
Right.
novel, is C.J. Sherry's Fated Sun
Yep.
series.
Yep.
Herbert's Dune novels are
Oh,
mentioned.
those are insane. I
Yeah,
read those
uh,
in like the 70s or
yeah,
something.
yeah. I did too, funnily enough. I just wasn't that
As a
old yet.
kid, I read Jules Verne in the 1950s. I've
Oh my
always loved
God, that's
sci-fi.
oh
I
my God,
grew
that's
up reading Jules Verne, yeah. And The
my
Wizard of Oz, the whole series. That's sci-fi too, you know.
oh that like to me the Wizard of Oz books. Those are like fantasy, like
We should do a
before.
whole podcast on them.
Oh my God, yeah, oh, completely. So if you read all of the novels that come out of Barlow's Guide, you'll easily hit like five of my top five novels of all time. And then yeah, Jack Chalker. I want to say Jack Chalker. I mean, I loved Herbert's novels, but with all the current media going on around them, it's like,
Yeah, I know.
Larry Niven's Ringworld
Yeah.
series.
Oh
That's a
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that one, that series was really good. Um, Jack Vance's single novels, and then there were one or two others. But basically, I
yeah,
like if you read Asimov, Clark,
yep,
Herbert,
yep.
uh, Chalker, and May. Oh, and then the lady one, Ursula K. Le Guin.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. I've not read her, but I know she is.
Yeah, she was a brilliant author. So that's the answer to your question.
Thank
Uh,
you.
No, no, no. Of course, I'm happy. I'm especially happy to interact with an academic because I'm not an
I'm not an
academic.
academic. What
uh,
do you think I
but
am?
you were an educator, and that's fucking
Well,
awesome.
yes, and I volunteer at the library now, so I work in the used bookstore, so I get to talk to people about books, and that's fun.
Um, wow, that's very exciting. So there you go. You were successful in your first live.
Thank
So
you.
I would tell you if you haven't followed me when I let you go here in just a second, just follow me, and then literally any questions that you have about Substack, literally ask me. Or if you go into the Wendy the Druid chat,
Yeah.
if you ask in there, all of my readers, so all of the people on this live, and then all of my writers are in that chat, and they can help you.
Thank you.
No,
Very
no,
nice.
100%, 100%. So,
I will
thank,
do that.
thank you, Metaphor, much.
Thank you. Bye.
Wow, that was amazing. So, um, Elaine, I completely understand. Um, and thank Lynn Mad for also coming in and saying hello. That was a spectacular moment. And Metaphor, that was completely beautiful. So it's not that confusing for you, Metaphor. It'll be very easy, I promise. We'll get you up to speed, and then you'll really be happy, I think. I think you'll be very, very happy. Um, oh, okay. Hold on, Elaine. Here we go. Uh, I'm bringing Elaine in because this is the shit. I want to hear it. I want to fucking hear it. All
Hello. I'm
right.
wearing my Mind Your Own Damn Business t-shirt.
Fuck yes.
And I just got back from a memorial service for one of the security guards who's been one of my closest, you know, um, she's been a real good friend the last few years that I've been working with the clinics. But yesterday morning, we were at the Planned Parenthood in Kansas City, Kansas, and
Okay.
one of our defenders is I don't think she's not a druid. She's some kind of left hand path, like Wicca or something like that.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
I'm before you continue, I'm just going to tell you. So everybody asked me that question. Where
yes.
under the pagan umbrella do Druids and Wiccans um,
Mm-hmm.
and Plinas and the others all fall? Like it's all the same umbrella. There are just different subsects of those groups.
Mm-hmm.
Wiccas and Wiccans are a fascinating group of people, and they're actually almost in certain cases a better healer than I am. And
Uh-huh.
so there are Wiccan resources that I depend on um, for some of the herbal compendium shit that I write up. So anyway, so go on. I want to hear now.
So we've got about 2 dozen Catholics, mostly across the street, and they're doing the rosary and all that kind of thing because so many patients just turn around and run across the street and say, "Oh, you're right. I want to be a Catholic baby factory just like you." The Catholics are mostly women. The Protestant protesters are mostly men, but there was one woman there yesterday, and I went toe to toe with her and just screamed her face right off. So I get right up in their faces. I'm like, if you don't like this, then go home. If you don't like being treated like this, then go home. But anyway, Meg, she's one of my defenders, and she's a Wiccan, and she kept chanting at the Protestant guys in Latin. I don't know what she was saying because I don't know. And it was something about Lilith, and Lucifer and everything. It was creeping them right the fuck out. It was hysterical. So um, we had the cops out there twice. First, they came out to tell us that we were being too loud because we were, you know, and we're like, if they're screaming at patients, if they're going to scream at patients, then we're going to scream at them. If they shut up and go home, so will we. And we aren't allowed to use amplification at that location. You
What?
can at the other Planned Parenthood in Overland Park, but
Really?
I go to the one in my own city because it's more, it's more. I think the patients are more vulnerable. They have to walk right past the sidewalk, like maybe 15 feet away is the front door. And these people just yell at them, and they've got all kinds of big sandwich board size bloody fetus posters, and I call them the magic gummy bear signs. And but
God.
anyway, so the police came out. First, they told us we should stop screaming at them and just have civilized conversation. And I said, they're not interested in civilized conversation. They want to yell at patients. They want to intimidate patients. If all we did was try and talk to them, they'd just ignore us. So
Right.
no, we're not going to quiet down. Um, then they came out because I called them because while they were there the first time, one of the protesters, his name is Nicholas Heald, and he's a
Right.
nut job if you Google him. And he drives this, we call it the murder van. It's all covered with, Christian nationalism shit, repent or burn and all this. And he's a nut job. But anyway, he was walking out onto the driveway with pamphlets in his hand trying to stop cars coming in. And I'm yelling at the police. I'm like, he's violating the FACE Act. Aren't you going to do anything about it? Well, we're watching him. So meanwhile, across the street, there's some kid. It's kind of a rough neighborhood, and this black kid, about 6 years old, little boy. He'd been in I don't know, the barbershop or something with his dad, and he'd wandered out of the barbershop and come around, the shopping center's on an L, a strip mall, and he'd gotten around the corner and got lost and didn't know where he was, so he's standing outside the liquor store. And some grown-up man called across the street and told the cops, we have a lost kid over here. Aren't you going to come over and help him? Oh, we'll be over there in a little bit. So two of our pro-choice baby killers, including Megan the witch, went across the street to try and help the little boy while the cops did nothing. And it's just like, I mean, they eventually went over there and they got him back to where he was supposed to be and everything, but it was just ridiculous. It just, they're saying that the neighbors are complaining because the Overland Park Clinic is in the middle of an office park, a suburban office park. So
Yeah,
there isn't
sure.
anybody living there. The people in the other offices probably don't like hearing it, especially since they can use bullhorns. But in KCK, it's kind of mixed residential and commercial. And so, yeah, I'm sure people do complain. But it's like I told them, if you would tell people to ask the city to put a buffer zone around the clinic so that these people couldn't stand so close, then that would help, you know. But God forbid they should do that, right? Oh shit, no God, I'm an atheist. Anyway,
All right.
um,
I'm gonna trade. I'm gonna trade a story for that.
all right, let's hear it.
So, about a year and a half into my gender transition,
Hmm.
um, and I have made no secret about the fact that
Repeat.
I am not unvocal about my bullshit.
Hmm.
Um, but at the time, I was living, and I'm just going to say this: I was living in Cobb County. Cobb
Hmm.
County is a suburban county of Atlanta,
Hmm.
and I was specifically living in the city of Marietta. The city of
Okay.
Marietta has a very dramatic anti-queer element.
Ew.
And so I was living in an apartment just off the square of Marietta. And so I walked into Publix one day and I pulled into the Publix in my Leaf. Now, my Nissan Leaf has like Trans Lives Matter stickers on it. And I
Hmm.
have like the trans flag and the LGBT flag and all this shit all over it. And so I wasn't paying attention, but a van pulled up next to me. And so, um, like I said, I was really just trying to build up my own sort of security over, you know, my expression, where I
Mhm.
was. I had just started hormone replacement therapy. And so the only thing that I was brave enough to wear out at that time was I wore like long blousey shirts with
Mhm.
black like workout leggings and boots or tennis shoes. But I
Yeah, that's
did my
basically my wardrobe.
yeah, right. But I was sensible. I mean, I did my makeup every day. I
Mm.
did my eyelashes and put, you know, my mascara and my eyeliner and shit on. I mean, I wasn't like not artful about it or
No
anything.
stag
It's
drag. Yes.
right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I tried to come off as very natural, and so
Mhm.
this was during Trump's first term, by the way.
Mhm.
So it's like 2017 maybe. So I got
Mhm.
out of my car and I started to walk into the grocery store, and I like as I got out, there were like 6 or 7 people there.
Mhm.
I wasn't really paying attention. I got like 6 steps away from my car, and I heard somebody behind me go, "Hey!" And I was like, "Okay." Uh, I turned around and I went, "Hello?" And it was this short little, um, big fat belt buckle wearing um, dude who, like 5'2", 125 pounds wet. Now,
Mhm.
remember, I'm 6'6" and I weigh 240. And
Mhm.
so I said, yes. And he literally says in the dumbest fucking southern accent that I can imitate, I thought Donald Trump was going to deport all you sissies away from here. So, and then like the 5 other people that were standing around stopped.
Mhm.
Uh, and I walked over to him and I gently took my glasses off my face. Um, and he looked at him and I said, "Hey, you know what? You're really cute. And you know what else? I
Mhm.
think you've got a really nice ass.
Oh no.
And I'd love for you to come back behind the back of the store and let's have a little chat." And then I leaned down very close to his face and went, and then I put my glasses kindly back on my face,
Mhm.
turned around, and walked into the store. Now,
Mhm.
as I turned around, I saw his car, and his car was like this van with MAGA shit all over it or whatever. And so
Mhm.
here's the funny part. That was hilarious, but let me get to the funny part. The funny part was, um, I got my groceries and I went to leave. And as I was leaving, a woman walked up to me and she walked, "Excuse me," and I went, "Yeah," and she said, "I just want you to know," like in this low voice, "that you dealt with that situation exactly the way that you were supposed to, and all of those people should be treated that way.
Yep.
And you should be who you need to be for yourself." And I told her, "Thank you." Then I got my shit in the car and I left. But here's the moral to that story. Well, not the moral to that story. Here's the history of that story. I've had that shit happen a fuck ton.
Mhm.
And every time I have something like that happen, it goes the same exact way. My glasses come off my face. I tell them they have a cute fucking ass, and I
Oh
want to
no.
touch it. I want to touch it. I give them a smooch, and then I walk the fuck away, and they can't deal with it.
Mhm.
Because fragile masculinity means that they can't handle a trans person or a gay person approaching them. "Oh my God, that's horrible," and they become disgusted with
Mhm.
themselves or whatever. And so, yeah, I've been down that road countless times. And so, yeah, when people use the rhymes with hag word or
Mhm.
the rhymes with hissy word or whatever, I'm
Mhm.
like, really? That's all you
Mhm.
got?
Mm.
you're gonna have to try harder than that. You'll never be a woman. I really think you have no idea,
Oh
but that's
yeah.
okay. That's okay. And here's what's funny. Um,
Mm.
Carolyn Cossey used to live in my neighborhood. Do you remember her?
No.
Okay, so this is even more hilarious. So Carolyn Cossey um, was an actress from the 70s and 80s. She was in the movie For Your Eyes Only with
Oh, James Bond.
yeah, with James. She was a Bond girl. She
Hmm.
did she did a fully naked, full spread Playboy issue,
Hmm.
and then a year later came out and told everybody that she was trans, and
Hmm.
nobody knew, and nobody knew,
Ah,
and and
okay.
and so like whenever I used to actually have a copy of Cossey's Playboy issue,
Hmm.
and I used to, especially with people that, like people who would come into my house and were like, "Oh, this trans shit's stupid. Those people will never be a woman." I'd literally go grab that issue and go, "You didn't recognize that this was a trans person, and there's the full spread," and they look at you like,
Hmm. I know. I saw
and
something. I
and
saw
so
something online today about the building that used to be a Pizza Hut. This can be anything. Just people who look at the building will always know it used to be a Pizza Hut. And somebody's like, "Well, yeah. Does that mean you're going to go in there after it's made into a dental office and insist the receptionist give you a pepperoni pizza and argue with her if she won't?"
oh my god, that's hysterical. Um,
But
so yeah, and so I once ran into her in a social situation, and I asked her, I'm like,
mhm,
how the fuck did you survive that? And she was like,
mhm,
oh, it sucked. Back then, when you were trans, you had
mhm,
to sign an NDA that said you could never reveal that you were a former gender. You had to sign an NDA that said you could never date somebody of the gender opposite the gender that you transitioned to. They had to sign all the shit to keep it under wraps or whatever. Um,
mhm,
and so she said, yeah, in 84, I mean, I got 84, 85, 86 or whatever, got tired of it. And I just said, fine. I went on the talk show circuit and I told everybody, yeah, I used to be a man.
mhm,
And Hollywood blackballed her out. And then she just went to writing books.
mhm.
And she
I'll have to
got,
look into that.
yeah, like Flynn Boylan and
Mhm,
um, Campbell and the other trans writers.
mhm,
Hell, even a lot of the former transgender adult actresses, um,
mhm,
Kim Devine um, and some of those others, they all did extensive writing after they got out of the business, and
mhm,
because there was a story there and people wanted to read it and understand it. And so she's like, yeah, I just went on the writing circuit and, I'm doing okay or whatever. And I was like, well, great. I'm thankful. And I have to
mhm,
tell you that you were an inspiration to me when I was younger. And
mhm,
even though I probably was not in complete full appreciation for the fact that I was a trans person, I would never have found out that I was a trans person without that interaction. So,
it's cool.
um, yeah, anyway, so Elaine, thank you for sharing your moment.
Oh, sure. Sure.
That means I'm going to continue to invite you in here to share your moment
Oh my God.
because I have
Mm,
to tell you, like a bunch of people, the live session I posted that
mhm.
had you in it the last time, like a bunch of people, I like posted one or two of those on TikTok, and I got like 2,000 views out of it, and they were like, "Holy shit, that person's awesome!" so
Oh,
so I'm gonna kid you not, I literally have taken 100 subscribers to
mhm.
the publication because of that live.
Oh, well, that's cool. Well, I don't use TikTok because my employer doesn't want me to have it on anything that
No,
I access the network with. So,
no, yeah,
um,
because
but
China.
besides which, my God, Substack has become the biggest. It's such a time suck, and Facebook and everything else. Quora. Um, I was an initial investor in Tribel, but they never did take off.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I still have my account over there, and I got like over 1,000 followers, but I hardly ever post anything.
I think that a lot of people feel the same way about Neptune.
I haven't even heard of
Neptune.
that one. So,
Oh yeah,
mhm,
Neptune the app. Let me find it really quick and I'll tell you. The
mhm,
Neptune app uh, is an American made. So here you go. What the fuck is Neptune? Neptune is about creating a platform that's not run that's social media. It like Blue Sky, it has a customizable algorithm.
mhm,
It has ghost metrics. It has seamless monetization. It's community centric, so they're building it the same way that Blue Sky was built for media, just like TikTok. So Neptune is basically Blue Sky driven
ah,
TikTok,
okay, all right,
and
cool.
so I'm in line the minute that they go live, and I know um, tangentially know a couple of developers because of other relationships that I have
Mhm,
about its development, and so that's like the big thing is it's not a Chinese or a Singapore influence company, and they're not going
mhm,
to data share, and they're going to decentralize that. Okay, great. Well, that's perfect. Um,
mhm,
and so when that hits, I'm sure I'll get behind it. Um, so they do no algorithmic gatekeeping. They do real connections over quick hits. They'll allow extended video posting, interactive creativity, transparent monetization, and no follower accounts. So you won't know
mhm,
how many followers you have. You just post content and people interact with, which is really what's supposed to happen. But
okay.
anyway, so yeah. All right. Well, great. Th-
Well, have a good evening. Good to see you again.
Always a pleasure, Elaine. Always a pleasure.
All right. Good night.
Wow, well, that's going to be the end of that. Thank you, everyone, for joining the live. I want to tell everyone again, um, if you're a paid subscriber, thank you for subscribing to the publication. If you're not and you're a free subscriber, consider becoming a paid subscriber. But if you don't, that's fine. As I told Lynn, um, spread the word, get the word out, because there are people that need to hear the things that I have to say as much as the things that my writers have to say, and I want to continue um, that positivity going forward. Um, so I will tell everyone the three things that I tell everyone at the end of every live. Please stay strong. Please be safe. If you're not in a safe space, get to a safe space because we need you, and that I love you all, and I just want you all to be safe and in one piece. Uh, Thank you, and good night.